Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. I am Senator Patrick Ifeanyi Ubah, representing the good people of Anambra South. Mr. President, I bring this motion on the urgent need to investigate the alarming cases of delays in payment and allegation of corruption associated with capturing and payment of newly recruited university staff under the Integrated Payment, Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIS. Mr. President, Senate notes that the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIS, was introduced by the federal government sometimes in October 2006 as a reform measure aimed at improving efficiency and effectiveness in the storage of federal government employee records and administration of their monthly payroll in such a manner as to guarantee confidence in staff emolument cost and budgeting. Also note that the primary motive for the introduction of IPPIS was to take advantage of existing information and technology ICT on personnel and payroll management in other parts of the world to ensure that ghost workers are eliminated while bona fide federal government employees are paid accurately and timely. Observe that since its introduction in 2006, over 2 million federal government employees across 696 ministries, departments, and agencies, including some staff of federal government-owned universities and other tertiary institutions, have been reportedly captured on IPPIS platform. Recall also that recall that the use of IPPIS for storage of personnel records and management of payroll in federal government-owned university was a thorny issue between the federal government and academic staff union of universities, ASUU, during the recent suspended strike embarked upon by ASUU. Further note that while the federal government insisted that IPPIS remain the best personnel records and payroll management system to be used for storage of record and management of payroll of university staff, ASUU took a different position, recommending the University Transparency and Accountability Solution, OTAS, as an alternative that is most suitable for university, particularly. Concerned that while the federal government and ASUU were unable to reach an agreement regarding which of the two payment platforms to be adopted for management of university payroll, staff payroll, recent allegation of bribery, corruption and delay in capturing and payment of some university staff recruited as far back as 2020 through the IPPIS has called for urgent investigation of those irregularities because of the untold hardship caused to affected university staff and their families. Mr. President, informed that in many federal government universities, staff employed as far back as 2020 are yet to be captured on IPPIS platform and therefore not paid their salaries since they were recruited about 3 years ago. Also informed that some of the affected staff cutting across many universities have been alleged to bribe IPPIS officials for the purpose of getting captured on the platform, and also concerned that allegation of bribery, corruption, delay in capturing and payment of salaries of newly recruited staff of federal government-owned universities have caused serious doubt on the credibility and suitability of IPPIS as a platform for managing the payroll of university staff as institution clothed with autonomy for the purpose of teaching, learning, and research. Accordingly, resolves that Senate set up an ad hoc committee to investigate allegation of bribery and corruption of IPPIS officials at various universities across the Federation, delay capturing and payment of staff of federal universities, federal government-owned universities who were recruited as far back as 2020, and to make a report on the status of the disagreement between the federal government and ASUU on the use of either IPPIS or OTAS as the preferred payment platform for Nigerian university staff, and also mandate the ad hoc committee to interact with the head of service, national president of ASUU, the chairman of committee of vice chancellors of Nigerian universities, and other relevant stakeholders in carrying out its mandates, and to report back within 2 weeks for further legislative action. I so submit, Mr. President. Thank you.
Any seconder?
I want to thank the mover of this motion and even the seconder. But I think the business of this House is not to be driven by rumors, including incredible allegations. The mover of this motion alleged that there are university lecturers or staff who have been in the employment of their universities and they have not been paid for 10 years. Even 1 year. How do they survive? I think what we can do is not to take these allegations as a given. I was and I'm still a labor man. It is the prerogative. No, I am serious, please. Even in the Senate. Sure. My constituency remains the working class, regardless of what anybody wants to think. But it is the prerogative of the employer to determine the payment system that will enable fraud in his payroll. It is not that of the employee. However, where employee has proof that because a particular payment system was introduced, his pay has been delayed or denied, it is up to him to do a petition. Mr. President, listening to, I have not read all the rules. This Senate has not received petition from lecturers claiming that they have not been paid. If they have received, then we investigate those cases on merit. I don't want us without enough information to delve into something that is very complicated, because when you hear from the side of government will tell you that the problem is that there are some lecturers who work in 3 universities and receiving salary from all. So these are not things you want to delve into, because when this House takes to investigate, because it will be a sad day if we go into a matter and we just discover that we are just acting on the basis of social media. But I stand to say, any payment system that denies a worker his wages after 30 days is not only unacceptable, it is absolutely illegal. Because under the Nigeria labor laws, salaries cannot be delayed or deferred in excess of 30 days. That is a law, even though that law is broken by all manners of employers, particularly in the public sector. So I am for it. But I don't want us to take stories that look so incredible and on the basis of that appear to have taken or appear to take a position. So I support the idea of assuring that he who works must be paid, and paid as at when due. But as about the system of effecting that payment to ensure that fraud is eliminated is not as simple as some people might put it. This is the only country I've had cause to argue where government officials steal money, they call them ghost workers. And I say, in which part of the world do you call ghosts? The other meaning of ghosts is that they are invisible. So if you have from all these successful foreign ministers, we do have a problem of allegations of people over invoices, etc. We also do have issues of people who are not working, who get their pay every month, but they are not even in the country. So this is a complex issue that I want us to reflect deeply on, so that we do not appear to make assumptions on the basis of information that we have not verified and we have not confirmed. And we need to be careful not to renew what government is trying to sort out. And as I'm here, I don't have all the facts, but I think we do need to exercise some caution.
The chambers here, distinguished senators have immunity. They can make any allegation they want to make and request for investigation. They have immunity to what they say here. So, but if you look at the motion very well, you see it said concerned that the allegations is not conclusion. It's a concern that the allegations of bribery, corruption, and delayed capturing and payment of salaries of newly recruited staff of federal government-owned universities have cast serious doubt on the credibility and suitability of IPPIS as a platform for managing the payroll of university staff as institutions clothed with autonomy for the purposes of teaching, learning, and research. So it's talking about allegations. It's not conclusive. So, Senator Mbigi.
Thank you for the debate and clearly stating what the parliament is all about. This is a people's parliament. This parliament is permitted to discuss, among other things, rumors, allegations, hypotheses, threats, fears. So when you bring a matter before the parliament, you are not saying, you are not conclusive, but asking the parliament to look at it. Look at it with a view to bring in the facts on the ground. And of course, this is what this motion is all about. If these facts are laid, already established, then the next point of action is, of course, EFCC, police, and other security agencies will take it off. It is when we unbundle these things that they come out clearly that the parliament does its job responsibly. And I'm very sure my dear friend Oshiomhole, the Senate President, has clearly stated why we're here. And why we're here, we must be able to speak for ourselves and for the people and for the constituency and, of course, for the citizens of this country. I'm very positive. This is a good motion, and whatever the Senate decides, particularly taking it to committees when constituted, should do a very good thing for the Senate. I so submit.
Thank you, distinguished Senator. In the Parliament, in this chamber, you have immunity, so you can even make that allegation if you want to. But I'm not saying you should do so. But I say in this case, you said alleged, allegations, alleged. You did not conclude. Even if you want to say somebody is corrupt, say so. You have immunity. But we will investigate to know whether the person is actually corrupt. You know, but they can't take you to court. That is why you are here. So that's why you are distinguished senators and distinguished members of this Hello Chamber. Senator Garba, you have something to add?
Very important issue of our children's education. Sir, the university is a place where young minds are molded. And if we didn't give them the enabling environment where they can think freely instead of going on strike, I think we are doing disservice to this country. I was in one of the universities cited in Zuru. We had to raise money to feed the staff of that university for 2 years before they were captured. I was at a convocation at the University of Jos. First-class brain were produced. The VC said this is the challenge of IPPIS. I would love to retain these people today, but I can't. I strongly support this motion that the Senate should intervene in this matter, find out what is the reality so that our children can have best of education, sir. I so submit. Thank you very much.
The problem here is that let me get somebody who has had experience in payment of salaries and disbursements to universities to throw a little light before we go into the prayers. Distinguished Senator Dan Kwambo, former Accountant General of the Federation. What went wrong?
Dan Kwambo, representing Gombe North. IPPIS, Your Excellency, is one of the initiatives and reforms program of the federal government from 2003 to date. And I have been privileged to chair the implementation of IPPIS. Before IPPIS, salaries of the federal government are paid through allocation. Allocation in the budget in the sense that Ministry A is given any amount, B is given any amount, C any amount. And that is how it goes. And there were a lot of leakages and there were a lot of loopholes. So the federal government decided to centralize the payment to make sure that each kobo that goes out of the treasury is accounted for. And that was exactly how the IPPIS implementation started. So 1 million license was acquired to register 6 ministries. And when we started the data capture in 2007, by the time we finish the 6 ministries, less than 1/10 of the license that was acclaimed or assumed to would have been utilized was used. So, and the expansion and the enrollment continued. By the time I left as Accountant General in 2010, we had not finished utilizing the licenses. So maybe one of the challenges might be in the acquisition of more license to capture more people. But I must say, as at that time, the federal government has saved billions of naira. It's one of the best reform programs of federal government that was praised and appreciated by everybody. Secondly, because the implementation was in phases, when it reached the term of the universities, like somebody said, that the university can employ any number of people they wanted to employ and just pass the bill to the federal government. The IPPIS is integrated personnel and payroll. Personnel. So there must be adequate record. You cannot just wake up and say you will employ. You cannot just wake up and say you will dismiss. You cannot just wake up and say you can do increment or do this thing and do, not in a structured personnel management system. And those are the issues that has been lingering between ASUU and the federal government. I think these are entirely a different thing. Maybe there are more things that happen between ASUU and federal government. But in this matter, like he said, it is not the problem of the technology IPPIS, but it's more of the problem of people that are implementing the technology. Of course, if you are getting press and you want to be enrolled quickly, some people will go behind and do anything. So that allegation may be correct. And anywhere, any human management system that can give you money or that gives money, and if you are not careful, people may be tempted to take advantage of that system. So I think it's more of the technology. It's not of the technology, but of the people. So I support, as a pioneer promoter of this program, that it should be investigated so that appropriate measures can be put in place to ensure that Nigeria continue to benefit. Frauds are eliminated or minimized, and ensure efficiency in the payment of wages and salary in Nigeria. I so submit, Mr. Chair.
Let me commend Senator Nkwambu for giving a very, very elaborate explanation, because it would be unfair.
Use your campaign voice.
Okay, sorry. Let me be frank, it would be unfair of me to be here without saying something about this issue, because I was once a chairman of Tertiary Education and Third Fund, and I know that there was a very big problem between the federal government and ASUU. Why was that? Why? And I think the problem has not yet been solved because they believe that they need to have their own system different from IPPIS, because they feel IPPIS does not take cognizance of their own peculiarities. And that has been the argument. It's not about corruption or whatever, because they feel theirs is a different arrangement altogether, and they ought to have their own system that will go in tandem with their operations. That's the argument, and up to now it has not been solved. Number two, IPPIS is all about making sure that we do not spend money that we don't need to spend, that others don't steal our money. And it's been working very well. And even the delays that we are experiencing as we speak, I'm talking from the point of view or from what I garnered when I was chairman of the operation committee, because we've been having a large personnel, provision in our budget year in, year out. So the federal government warned the Accountant General Office and in fact the Ministry of Finance that look, we need to make sure that we don't have an increase every year in our personnel provision in the budget. And so there was a stringent arrangement that was brought to play that anything that we need to go to the IPPIS, the budget office must give approval, Accountant General must give approval, and so on and so forth. So that's why you have these delays, and it is for the good of the country. So let us be informed as to what is happening. And I think second and annual committee to look at this issue. We know this issue already. This matter should be allowed. If there's anything, when we have a standing committee on education,
So you're amending the first prayer?
Something based on what I've said. Let me go to the amendment. That this prayer one, it is said on error committee that the matter should be referred to the standing committee one constituted. Look at the matter. So I so move.
Seconder, yes, set up an ad hoc committee to investigate allegations of bribery and corruption of IPPIS officials at various universities across the nation, delayed capturing and payment of staff of federal government-owned universities who were recruited as far back as 2020, and to make a report on the status of the disagreement between the federal government and ASUU on the use of either the IPPIS or UTAS as the preferred payment platform for Nigerian university staff. Any comments or any? Yes, Deputy Senate President, you want to?
Yes,
because when you said allegation of bribery and corruption, that is where I see we should have.
Yes, so long as it's allegation, it doesn't matter the next thing that follows. It's not proven. Patrick Ifeanyi Ubah for this all-important motion, and also thank my distinguished colleagues for your contributions, and to say that yes, indeed, when the final report of the investigation comes before the Senate, I will be very glad to look into them, because the issues are very germane. They touch on the lives of future generation, because when we do not put the educational system right, it means that we'll be increasing insecurity in the system in future because of the kind of products that will come out from the various universities. When the teachers are not happy, when the lecturers are not happy, their output will also be limited, and this will impede the growth of education in the country. I thank you so much. Leader of the Senate. On the ad hoc committee on the disbursement of the loans from the development bank, right? Which even distinguished Senator Sari Musa, who was chairman in the 9th Senate, was also a signatory to the motion, a co-sponsor. If you looked into this issue in the 9th Senate, and then you now sponsor the motion to review your decision in the 9th Senate, we are ready to do it. So let me say that the ad hoc committee as constituted is as follows. The chairman is Senator David Romai. The other members will be Senator Babangida Hussaini, Senator Mohammed Ndume, because he seems very knowledgeable about these issues, and he has been very strong on it. Then since it has Senator Ipalibo Banigo and Senator Mohammed Sani Musa, who must go and reproduce his earlier report to assist the committee, Senator Chisoba Chukwu, Senator Chukwu, and then Senator Abiru Adefampo. I need to get the surname very correct. Oh, it is your handwriting then, it's not me, I'm not the cause. Because at least I know Adetukumbo Ademola Street. So, Senator Abiru Adetukumbo, member. So, thank you so much. And having exhausted the other paper for the day, this Senate stands adjourned to Thursday, clerk, date, Thursday the 13th, and at 11 a.m. prompt.